This podcast is intended for adults 18 years and older. It contains explicit language and sexual situations. All thoughts and opinions expressed are of our own and not of those of any specific group, employer, or individual, and is not intended to take as professional advice.
Welcome to the Foreplay Podcast. Join the journey, experiences, and sexual adventures of two high school sweethearts navigating through the swinging lifestyle as millennials. Come along for the ride. Dare to play.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Foreplay Podcast. This is Bella.
This is Jase.
Today's episode is our review of the most recent Temptation cruise, which was Temptation Grand Cruise. Now it's called Temptation Grand Cruise November 2025 on the Norwegian Jewel.
This is our fifth Temptation cruise. We feel like we have quite a bit of experience, and there has been a lot of changes that we really enjoyed on this ship, and we're really excited to kind of get into them. So we will talk about all those changes that kind of throughout this entire podcast. But we did want to say that if you guys are listening to this podcast and you want to see some videos from this will also be on our YouTube channel. So you can go to foreplay.com/YouTube. It's number 4, OURPLAY.com/YouTube if you want to see some videos of things like the playroom or the dining areas or things like that. So just want to say that if you guys are listening and you want some visuals to go along with that, we highly recommend going to our YouTube channel to watch this video.
And as always, if you're planning on going on a future spicy cruise or lifestyle cruise and find this information helpful and would like to help support us and support the channel, we'd greatly appreciate if you'd consider booking your next vacation through our website at foreplay.com/cruise. It's always completely free to you, but it helps us out a ton. It helps us be able to continue to make content like this and help others on their lifestyle journey. If we're going on that specific cruise, which we do go on a majority of all the cruises, we host exclusive events on board the ship like meet and greets and other activities that are always optional but available for you to go to if you want to. We have a new Foreplay Insiders Cruise Guide that has all the information to help prepare you for your trip. We have an online community for you to meet people beforehand, and we also make special handmade goods as well. And again, that's foreplay.com/cruise. And if you have booked your cruise from our website, just make sure your confirmation email has Foreplay located at the top. Otherwise, you won't be registered as part of the Foreplay group. And if that is the case, just send us an email at hello@foreplay.com and we can try and help get that fixed for you so it's reflected correctly so you don't miss out on anything. And speaking of the Foreplay group, we had an amazing group that came on this cruise with us this time. We had quite a bit of couples that came, and it was such like a wide variety, and we made some really, really amazing friends on board as well. And seeing the connections that we always say it's always our favorite part, but it's seeing the connections being made in person in real time and seeing all of the friendships made. It's always our favorite part. We want to give a special thank you for everyone who booked their cruise with us on this past cruise and any of the cruises before and any of the future cruises if you guys are wanting to do that too. We appreciate it so much. It's what allows us to be able to make this content for you guys. And again, I always say it, but we love meeting you guys and seeing those connections being made on board and just seeing this community thrive. It's just like the most special thing. So again, we always want to say thank you, and we always look forward to it. We love meeting everybody. And there are 2 Temptation cruises next year, and we are so excited for those too.
So the first thing we're going to talk about is demographic. And one good thing to note is that Temptation Cruise is not a lifestyle specific cruise. We always say it's an adult spring break that is very lifestyle friendly. Now there is some changes in the demographic. One of the biggest ones is they are couples only now. It used to allow singles, but now it is couples only. The age on this cruise is a little bit younger than some of the other ones. I would say your average age is around 35 to 45. I feel like it's the biggest demographic. You're definitely gonna have people younger than that. Definitely have people older than that. We always say it's a very bell curve type of thing, but I would say around 40-ish is the average age on this cruise.
The crowd itself is a very high energy and very playful. Like Jay said earlier, it's not a lifestyle cruise. It's not geared toward just lifestyle people, and that goes towards the demographic as well. We do feel like it's a lot more of that playful, high energy party atmosphere, and that definitely shines through in the demographic that we see. It also is a very, very attractive crowd, and we felt that we met more international people on this cruise as well. We even met a couple from Japan. There was a couple from Australia, and it's not like a majority of the cruise is like all international. It's definitely still like North America is the highest like demographic. There's also a really big Latin community on there as well. So there definitely was a broad demographic, which is really cool.
Like we said earlier, this is not a specific lifestyle cruise, but we do feel like there is a large number of people in the lifestyle or just lifestyle adjacent on these cruises. One thing that we noticed about November specifically was there was a lot of couples that felt like they were new on their lifestyle journey. And maybe that's whether they had had one or two experiences before, or they were coming on this cruise just very curious to learn about the lifestyle.
The length of this cruise was 5 nights, which we always think 5 nights is really good for Temptation cruises. Again, it's very party heavy, and so whenever it's more than that, I feel like it can get kind of tiring, at least on our part. So 5 nights we felt was really, really good. And the ship was on Norwegian Cruise Line Norwegian Jewel. This has been the second sailing on Norwegian Cruise Line, and this specific ship had about 2,400 guests on it. We find that that's a really good size, especially for cruises that are 5 nights, having it not be way too many people. It's easier to find people, it's easier to make those connections. It doesn't feel as overwhelming. And so having that, we'd say mid-size ship, 2,400 people for that amount of time, like the length of the cruise, felt perfect for us.
So next we're going to go into how the ship was organized, as well as kind of the parties and stuff that were going on in those areas. We'll get into more of all just the activities later, but we'll start off with the playroom. I feel like that's always one of the biggest questions on these ships, and this is one of the largest changes I feel like in all of the entire Temptation cruise in general was the playrooms. In the past, the playrooms have been a little bit underwhelming in our opinion, but this year that completely changed. So there was a very large room that they separated into 3 different sections. There was a red room type area. There was a bunch of beds that had these nice sheer curtains that had this red lighting. As you walked in further, there was more of that BDSM type space. You had some glory holes, you had some reverse glory holes. You had a bunch of just different BDSM equipment and things like that, as well as just some play areas over there. It was this nice red lighting, very sensual feeling, very cool. And then you went next door to that. There was an area that was more of an area I would say was for voyeurs and exhibitionists. It was more of a white lighting where you could see a little bit better in there. And so you had a bed in the middle surrounded by other beds. So this was a really awesome area if you wanted to maybe be watched or watch people. And then next to that, there was an area called the Neon Jungle, which was kind of a darker green feel. There was a neon lighting there, and they had just a bunch of beds in that area. There was some green vines that were hanging down, and it kind of created these 3 different areas in the playroom that all felt very different and kind of brought their own energy each. And then it was really cool because they also had a seating area where you could kind of go and have a seat and you could see all the stuff going on in the playroom. I just feel like they did such an awesome job completely upgrading the playrooms on this cruise, and it made some massive difference overall.
In between each section, there was also different music as you kind of walked through each section. And in the past, the beds have always just been on the floor, and then now it's on risers. There's curtains everywhere. There's curtains that you can open and close. They were the sheer curtains, so it was a very sexy, sensual space. You also couldn't bring your drinks inside, but you did not have to be completely nude, so you could walk through in your theme outfits or in your, they call it your street clothes. So you didn't have to be completely nude just to go in and kind of walk through. If you wanted to participate, you could. You could definitely watch, as long as you're being respectful and not, just lingering. That's just basic etiquette there. And it was just like the biggest change. If you're hearing this episode on the podcast, you won't be able to see like the video, so we highly recommend for you guys to go on YouTube, but we'll put in clips of what the playrooms look like. And yeah, it was like a major change.
And they had your typical amenities you would have in these areas like water, towels, protection, things like that, which are standard and just a really nice thing to have. One thing we did notice, which is really good just to people note, that we felt like more of the people in there were couples with their own partner. There was no big group beds on Temptation Cruise. That is something that I think would be really cool, is if they did have an area that had group beds. I feel like that would promote, those bigger group areas, which can be fun, but overall, huge changes to the playroom. So pool parties are a really huge thing on Temptation Cruise. One thing we kind of like about Temptation is most of the parties, they're only having one party at a time, so that kind of promotes everyone being in that same area. So this sailing, there was 2 different pools on this ship. There was one pool that I would say is more the party pool. It was a little bit busier there. You'd hear people talking. It was right next to the dance floor and the DJ, so you had a little bit more music there. That's where they did some of the activities around the pool. Then you also had a second pool, a little bit more quiet. I feel like people were sitting there having conversations, but it's kind of cool that you have both areas right out there on the pool deck. There was multiple hot tubs all surrounding these areas, so if you wanted to not be in the pool, but you wanted to get in the hot tub, that was a really fun option as well.
The hot tubs were really popular. I feel like I saw more people busy in that, like the hot tubs were always busier than the actual pool itself, and the 2 pools were still on the same deck, so you didn't have to leave the pool to like go to the quiet pool. It was just a little bit further away from the music, so you could talk to people a little bit more. It was more at the quiet pool, people kind of like around the edges, and the pool was really cool because you could still be sitting inside of the pool but on a ledge, and still be a little bit wet, but not completely in the pool, versus the other pool, I believe it was just more like a conversation pool where you had to like actually go in the whole way. And if you wanted to get away from the music but still be on the pool deck, there was also a lot of like lounge chairs all around the pools as well. And there was a place called the Sun Deck or Sunset area, something like that, that was up above one floor. It was like the very top floor that was all outside, very quiet there, a lot of just like sunbathing. We found that most people who were nude liked to be in that area. We'll get more into the new changes about being clothing optional a little bit later in the video. The night parties were so fun. Again, there's only one party going on at a time, which really makes for an easier way to find people. Of course, it's not like super easy to find people. We made friends with a couple who we saw like all the time on like the first night and then the second night, and then we like didn't see them again until the last day of the cruise. It was crazy. So it's not like it's super easy to find people, but it does make it a little bit easier if there's only one party to go to at a time. So there was the main theme night party, which was out on the pool deck, and they typically do this unless there is any weather changes, and luckily we didn't have any bad weather this time. So every party was outside. The DJs were really awesome as well. They had like really cool lasers and lights going on, so that's really awesome. It definitely feels like music festival at sea. That party starts around 10 o'clock. Usually about like 10:45, it starts getting pretty busy with people dancing. Usually about 2 o'clock is when that party will end, and then the first after party starts. That moved into an area called the Bliss Lounge, which kind of felt more like a nightclub. The area was still like a good size. It was still a big size. There was a bar over there as well, and then there's like a lot of seating around too. But since the area was smaller, even when people had already dispersed, it still felt pretty busy just because it could hold like less people, but more people were there.
One nighttime party thing that I wish they did still have was on the previous cruise, there was a silent disco, which we went to a couple nights. It wasn't that busy, but I thought it was kind of fun to have like a second little dance area you could go to. So that's something I would love to see again in the future. They did not have on this cruise, but the parties were still really fun, really busy overall, but it's kind of nice sometimes to have a couple options.
This wasn't really a party area per se. It wasn't like called one of the party areas or after party areas, but there was a section where there were some piano players, like dueling piano players, and that place was always busy too. Whenever there was like some live music, again, it would be a smaller crowd, but it was a lot less loud. So if you didn't want to be at that like EDM, like music thumping, pumping dance party, you at least also had that option.
There's also a ton of bars on the ship. Everyone does have a drink package that's included on the ship. We'll go into that more later, but so there is a ton of bars. We feel like there's a lot of cool areas. So you have like the bars in the Bliss Lounge, but then you also have your bars up on the pool deck area. We feel like at night, those were almost like a second little hub around the party. Lots of people were up there talking. There was some seating. You could see the party. You could also make some friends, have those conversations while you got a drink. So it almost felt like a little second party area to me, which I thought was pretty cool. But you also had the rest of just the cool bars on the ship. There is a ton of different bars on the ship, so it was always easy to find a place to get a drink. There was also some other amenities on the ship. You have your casino. You had a couple sports areas where you had maybe like a golfing, driving range type simulator, a sports court, a gym, which is really nice if you're looking to work out on the ship. There's also a spa on board that is not included, but if you want to get those spa services, you could do that. And then there was also a sauna that was included for free in the locker room of the gym, which is really, really nice. We love going to the sauna. We feel like it's a complete refresher. And so that's something that we use most days. Because the demographic on Temptation Cruise is a little bit more playful, we wish they had areas that were like more like mini golf, slides, things like that kind of promote that going and hanging out, flirting, and just kind of doing a fun little activity together during the daytime. They do not have those, and they haven't had them on any of the Temptation sailings. So that would be cool in the future if it was on a boat that had some of those things, like some slides or fun things like that. But they did not have that on this one. I said there still was a lot of nice amenities overall, but that's something we'd love to see on a Temptation Cruise. I feel like it would really add something to it.
Next are the theme nights. I'm going to read these off just so I don't forget any of them, but Temptation Cruise does have daytime themes on the sea days. The 2 daytime themes were inflatables, and that one was a fun one because you could bring these like inflatable dolls, but also there was like this huge inflatable Hitachi wand that somebody brought, and that was really fun. And just like those tubes that you could bring. The idea of the name called just like inflatables is kind of silly, but when you were actually at the party. It was actually pretty cool. And then the other one was a luau party, and those were for the daytime themes just at the pools. And the nighttime themes were Candyland, Wild West, Naughty and Nice Lingerie, Neon, and Stone Age. And we'd say a majority of people did dress on theme for this cruise. It's really fun. We always like really dressing on theme as well. It's like a conversation starter, and it's just fun to be kind of like a part of it all and getting ready beforehand, getting your outfits together and all of that.
And it is good to know there's a big range of different theme outfits. You can wear things that are maybe a t-shirt, or you can go for a full theme outfit, but it's just good to know that it's not like everyone is doing crazy all-out themes. You can really kind of do it however you want to.
Moving on to drinks and dining, Jase did mention earlier that everyone does have a drink package. So your cabin price does include that drink package as well, which is really fun. The only thing is sometimes the areas, because everybody does have a drink package, the lines can get kind of lengthy, especially at the pool areas. So we recommend trying to, like, if you're wanting a drink, maybe like trying to find a different bar. Like, it might be a little bit longer to walk to, but if you're trying to save time, it might be worth just going somewhere else to get a drink rather than staying in line. However, whenever you are staying in line, that's usually when you'll meet a lot of people too. So it does lean itself to being kind of like a community thing where you're going to be standing in line with people you don't know if you've seen before, so you can start up that conversation. We met people, so when we were in line, sometimes you would see someone who you hadn't really talked to yet, but it kind of was like you're in. So we kind of like that there is a little bit of a line sometimes too, but something to think about. The drink package also doesn't include every single alcohol, like any of the premium alcohols. Certain ones of those you do pay extra for. Drink package also does include water and basic coffees, teas, and juices. Those were always in the dining areas. Like if you wanted to just like order like a coffee, you could order that. You could order water. In the buffet areas, they always had different drinks available for you to get there that were also complimentary and included. There was a Starbucks on board that is not included with the beverage package that comes with your Temptation Cruise package. If you wanted to pay extra for that package, you could, or you could just pay for it a la carte.
So one of the other largest changes to us was the food. So on the first sailing on Norwegian, we feel like the food was overall not that great. It was not the worst food I've ever had. I just felt like it wasn't up to the standard that we're normally used to on most cruise ships, and the food was completely different this time. We felt like it was so much better. And we also have several friends who went on Temptation Cruise on the first Norwegian ship as well as us. So we asked them to make sure it wasn't just us thinking this, and the food was massively different. The buffet to me was consistently so much better. There was a lot of different options and everything tasted very good. Same thing with the main dining. Everything that we ordered, I feel like was actually very good food. And I said we were just so happy about that because the last cruise, it was just not that way.
On embarkation day, we got on the ship and then we went straight to the buffet like we usually do. And I remember going there and we were actually sitting with our friends who had been on the previous Temptation Cruise that was on the Norwegian Pearl. And we were like, okay, so we're going to see how the food is. And they had, even in the buffet, they had foods that weren't like just like completely typical either. And so we got oxtail. It was really good. It was like, even after the whole cruise is over, like I'm still thinking about that like oxtail dish. And so they had tons of different options. This time, I don't really remember eating anything that I was like, hey, this is, except for the desserts. I feel like cruise ship desserts though.
There was a lot of really great desserts on
There
this
was
ship.
a lot of good ones, but I mean, like I said, this kind of goes for like most cruise ship desserts. I feel like any kind of like bready, cakey desserts on any cruise, if not just like Norwegian cruise ships, aren't always the best.
And see, I don't completely agree. I think that this dessert was, to me, was some of my favorite dessert on any cruise ship I've ever been on.
Really?
Yeah.
Which one's it? Well, the ice cream was really good.
And they had like a cheesecake one day that was really good. They had like a banana cake one day that was really, there was several things that I actually really liked. I'm not a big dessert person, and I actually really liked quite a few of them.
See, that's good. So, because there's options for everyone. Like, food is subjective, you know? So we just know that objectively this time it is much better.
And they also are really accommodating. We have some friends who are vegan, and one day they went and there wasn't really an option that was something they really wanted, and they were able to like cook them something almost off menu. I was saying they had a couple nights previously and kind of remake that dish for them to be accommodating. So that's really nice to know as well that they were able to kind of help with people who had different food restrictions as well.
And that was in the main dining area. In the buffet area, cafeteria, everything was labeled. So if it was either gluten-free or vegan or vegetarian, there were little like note cards on it that had these little symbols that symbolized what type of like food, if you had any food restrictions, you could eat those.
There was also another restaurant that was included called O'Sheehan's. It was great. They have a lot of bar type foods, and you could go, and that was open till almost 4 a.m., I believe, and you could just order food. We always felt like it was consistent. It was good. Also, just note, the buffet was a late night buffet as well. I believe it was 3 o'clock when that was open. O'Sheehan's was till 4 o'clock, which we really love. So even if you party really, really hard, really, really late, you still had food that was available.
Late night food options, I think, were like the perfect kind of late night foods too. They're just like those little fried bites that you'd want to get. Although I do wish that they had fresh options. There wasn't really any, I think there might have been fruit, but not much. But there wasn't like a salad bar or anything like that, where pretty much everything was kind of like heavy, greasy finger foods, which is good, but not great for everyone. There were also specialty restaurants. We didn't eat at any of the specialty restaurants this time, but we did hear that that's good as well. And there's also a room service option, and this really goes for every cruise ship, but room service is not included, and it just kind of depends on how long it's gonna take. So you don't know if it's gonna be really fast or you could be waiting a while. Good thing about Temptation Grand Cruises is that usually they have a pretty late food option, because like up to 4 a.m. is pretty late. I think the next food option opens at like 5, and usually people are done by like 3:30. And so typically I found that most people were able to get something to eat. And if it was in that kind of off time where you didn't have something, you could order room service. We always say, if you know that there is an option that you might have a very, very late night, that you might be up until 4:30 or 5, to grab something and then like put it in your refrigerator. Don't leave it long, but just, for like that night, just you have something to eat and nibble on in case everything closes.
Overall, the food was one of the biggest improvements. And so as long as the food stays like this, we really, really enjoyed it.
Also, water bottles were something on the last Temptation cruise that was a big issue, because you had a drink package, but water bottles weren't included. Water bottles were included this time. We're not really water bottle people. This is like something else that we recommend, is just to bring a like reusable water bottle, especially like one of those insulated ones. That way you can have your ice in there, you can have water in there, and then it's always free to go and fill it up at the buffet areas, or if you like went to a bar, they could give you water there as well.
Temptation this year did give out a goodie bag, and it had 2 water bottles in it, which I feel like was actually a very useful gift, so that you could go and fill up your water bottles. I saw a ton of people using those water bottles, so that's also an option for water. That was really nice that they gave those out in the little bag that was left in your room, so you could have like a reusable water bottle, which was great.
I don't know if they're always going to do that. That was really good this time, though. A lot of people were using it. Like, I would say everywhere I looked, I saw people using the water bottle that they gave.
This podcast is brought to you by us, Bella and Jase. If you're going on a vacation, or maybe you have a gift that you want to give your other lifestyle friends and you're looking for lifestyle clothing, we have the best apparel on the market for you. We have not only clothing, bikinis, swimsuits, we have backpacks, tumblers, cups, anything that you can name, we probably have it. You can find that at foreplay.com/shop.
Let's say you're at a party, you're going on vacation, things are moving a little bit slow. Maybe you want some conversation to flow. Maybe you want to move stuff towards play. Well, we have the perfect game for you. It's called Foreplay the Game. It is a digital and physical lifestyle icebreaker game, and you can find out all about it at foreplay.com/games. That's number 4, OURPLAY.com/games.
If you don't have a lifestyle vacation planned, a resort or a cruise planned, why not? You can join us. You can find that at foreplay.com/playcation. We have not only information about the events and trips that we'll be on this year, but also other options for you as well. And it doesn't cost any extra for you to book through our links, but helps us a lot, helps us continue to be able to make this type of content for you. Now back to the show.
With the accommodations, I think that they were really nice. The room that we got was just an interior cabin, and it wasn't like the most spacious thing. We didn't have a little extra area that was for seating like we have in the past, but there was a lot of storage that you can kind of put there. There was a lot of shelving areas, which is really nice. The bathroom was very nice. The shower was really long. It was like a full size shower with like a glass door and everything. You could definitely easily fit 2 people in there, and that's not typical on cruises usually. I think that everything was like pretty modern, at least when it came into the stateroom itself. All the places around the ship also were really nice. Like most cruise ships, everything is always really clean. There's always people cleaning something or cleaning somewhere. Accommodation wise, I didn't have any complaints about it. The closet that we had, even for the interior room, was also really nice. There was like 2 closet areas, and whenever you opened it, it like lit up in there. So yeah, I really liked the accommodations. And on the back of the bed, it was like a big mirror. So that lent to very being nice accommodations for like play. That was really fun. I remember like we had an experience and then you could just like look over and you can just like see everything happening. There was also like another mirror. There was a lot of mirrors in there. There was the vanity mirror, and then like behind that it was like a full length mirror. Every time that I took a picture in the vanity, I was like, you can see my back. And so yeah, there was lots of mirrors, which was pretty fun for the type of cruise that it was.
So activities, there was a lot of activities going on the ship. I'm going to also read some of these just so I do not miss it. And there was more than this. This is just some of the ones that they had. There was tequila contest, Mr. Banana contest, belly flop contest, beer pong tournament, belly dance classes with a playmaker, sensual fitness classes, jello wrestling, magic card game, etc. There was a lot of different activities that would go on during the daytimes that you could go, you could watch, you could participate if that's what you wanted to do, but there was lots of fun stuff that you could go and kind of be a part of. There was a couple meet and greets. I feel like they were pretty generalized meet and greets. We personally feel like if they had a few more meet and greets and maybe they were a little bit more niche down, so you could more specifically find even more like-minded people, right? Just because these cruises are really great to have those connections with. And so the more specific things you kind of have in common, that's just an extra talking point. So I feel like if they had those meet and greets that were a little bit more niche down and a few more of them and kind of pushed those, that'd be really awesome. They did have a couple meet and greets. One was a people who was their first time to Temptations. There was a Temptations veteran one. And so that was kind of the themes they had for those meet and greets. But I do feel like even more would be cool.
They also only had one a day, and they didn't have one every single day. And it was also at kind of an odd time as well. I believe it was usually about 5 or 5:30. And that's like after the pool party has kind of already ended. Everything's kind of like dispersing. And maybe that was why they were doing it at that time. As I guess as guests, as people who have gone on these, usually you're like socialized out by that time and you're kind of wanting to take that time to go and either take a rest, take a nap, or get ready for dinner. And so I think like a better meet and greet would be during maybe around like 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, like maybe right after lunch, maybe even right before lunch, and then doing them or even having them throughout the day, maybe like a couple of them or 3 of them a day, something like that, rather than just one big one. And I do wish that the meet and greets were a little bit more like planned out or pushed or more, I guess, like effort put into it. I think that it would help a lot for the guests.
There are a lot of different workshops and seminars that they do on Temptation Cruise. They are all included. One good thing to note is that if you're wanting to go to these, sometimes they get really busy really fast, sometimes it's a little bit slower, but if you want to make sure you get a spot for some of these, we recommend maybe getting there a little bit early just to make sure you're able to get a spot if you want to go to one of those workshops. So I'm going to read off some different ones that they had. There was a sensory seduction, surrender and dominant, stretch me, which is a flexibility focused one, sensual touch, group play dynamics, and they did multiple of these seminars every single day. So that's something if you wanted to kind of, a break from the party or you want to go connect with your partner. If you're a big seminar person, there is a lot of options for that on Temptation Cruise.
A lot of our friends and the people that we met were going to those seminars. A lot of the times, because we don't do a ton of seminars and workshops, and sometimes whenever we would see like new friends or people who we were wanting to get to know more, we were like, oh, we were looking for you earlier throughout the day. What were you guys doing today? And most of them said that they were at some kind of seminar or some kind of workshop. So that's a really good way also to meet people too. I don't know how much socializing is done since you're learning things, but I do know that they are very popular and a lot of people go to them.
I think with a lot of people being a little bit newer in their lifestyle journey, being on this ship, I feel like that really played into that. So I think having all of those seminars is a really awesome thing about Temptation Cruise.
And of course, we had our own private meetup for everybody who booked with us. We had a like special exclusive foreplay meetup, and that was really fun. A lot of people went. We had a little bit of trouble with this one because whenever you go on cruises, sometimes you have time changes, and it's very important to pay attention to the like announcements and making sure that you're reading the pamphlet that they give you, because it'll tell you, and checking your app, checking like the Norwegian cruise app, because it'll tell you the time that it is. So when you're on a cruise, usually your like Wi-Fi is off and your service is off. So it's not going to automatically change the time for you. And usually the cruise ships will be going on like a different time because you're like traveling through different ports. So sometimes you're saying that, okay, I'm going to go meet these people at this time, and then they think that it's not ship time, so they're checking just their phone. So that kind of was a little bit of an issue for our meetup because it was at this specific time and not everybody knew that they had to change their time. So they were going off of their phone time versus ship time. So make sure you're always going on ship time. That is my whole spiel with that. But it was so fun. We always have that exclusive meetup. We do games there and everybody gets to know each other, and that was so fun. And we also did a group dinner the next day, and it's always one of our favorite activities to do, and meeting people. And then at the very end of the cruise, like seeing everyone like together on the dance floor, everybody who met each other like on that like second day during the meetup. It's so fun.
So shows and entertainment, there was different things every night. I personally liked some of the ones in the past more, but they still had several different shows. The first night they had a preview show, which kind of was a little sampler of what was coming for the week, which I think was an awesome idea. You had a singer who she was on America's Got Talent or something like that, and she was a singer and a rapper, and she was extremely talented. There was also a comedian on board who was funny. We are not big comedy show people, so someone that we enjoyed, I feel like that says a lot. There was also an acrobatic couple on there who was awesome, but they were during the preview show, and unless we missed it, which we don't feel like we did, we never saw them again. And it was one of my favorite parts because I always like the acrobatic Cirque du Soleil type of shows, and we were hoping they would do another thing one of the other nights, but we never saw that again.
And that one was amazing. I think that might be one of the best shows because it was like a 4-minute show that they did, but it was one of my favorite things I've ever seen in a show. They did this like acrobatic stuff to rewrite the stars from The Greatest Showman, and she was like upside down and like they were like spinning up in the air, and it was really cool. It was like the like Erotic, which was another show that was also on the ship as well. It was cool because it was a couple that was doing it, and then, but yeah, we never saw. And I thought they were gonna have their own show, but they didn't. Maybe they left or something. I don't know.
But Erotic was amazing. They did Erotic the last night, which is normally what they do on Temptation Cruise, and it was amazing as always. It's cool because they had some new people, but also some of the people who've been there for a while. So you saw some of the classic acts they do every year, which are some of the crowd favorites, but they also brought in some new acts that we hadn't seen before. So Erotic, I think, is pretty much always my favorite show at sea. We personally love it every single time. We have heard some guests in the past who come on every single Temptation Cruise feel like it's repetitive. We totally understand because the majority of the show is the same, and some new people come in, they do change some of the stuff, but it is majority the same. So I can see why people think that, but we just think it's so incredible. Even if it's the same thing, I look forward to it every single year.
There's also that demographic. I think a majority of people, it's not their first Temptation Cruise, so it is a lot of people's first time seeing the show. But again, I also can see the other side. Well, this is the third or fourth time that I've seen this show, and then maybe they just don't even go to the show that night, but we always really like it. They did do a love and marriage game show, which we've said many times that we think that it is a great game show and a great show to have on board. However, it seems like they're not quite done the way that I think would lend to it being the best it could be on a cruise like this. So this love and marriage game show, they just use the same questions that they would have used, like a normal cruise director would have used on a normal ship. And I think that it really needs different questions. It needs more sexy questions. It needs spicier questions. It needs questions that the guests of these would make like the answers a lot more fun. And so for that reason, we didn't love the love and marriage game show. Like it was fun, but I think it could be so much better. And they like won like a really big prize, either a cruise or some like credit or something towards a future cruise. So it was like a very big prize. In the past, they also have other shows that are audience participation shows, which again, we really like. One time they did a scavenger hunt show, and that was like the main show. And we always think that that is always a really fun show to have as one of the main shows. They didn't do that one this time. In the past, they also did a family feud type game show. It's not with families though, okay? It's just like your team. It's like Team Feud. That was fun to watch. And a Temptation Got Talent. That one was just like okay. But again, that was like on a past cruises. They didn't have that this time. Maybe they're only trying to do one audience participation game or show entertainment per cruise, which I understand, but I love the Love and Marriage game show. I just wish that it was done differently.
I do think though the scavenger hunt is the best of all of the audience participation games because it gets the most people involved. So that's the one if they were going to do one, I feel like I would personally love to see the most.
There were also live music just going around the ship as well. They had the dueling pianos, and they weren't really dueling though. It was more two piano players and they kind of played off of each other. That place was always usually pretty busy. It was one of the other areas where it was like a party area, but it was quieter and you could actually like talk to people more, and it was a lot more chill rather than like the big like bumping theme parties. And speaking of music, DJs were really great. It is a lot of EDM music, it's a lot of party music. There were songs that were like top 40 songs that were mixed into the EDM though, which is really fun. I have a core memory of Scream singing Golden, and that was really, really fun. Golden from K-pop Demon Hunters. They did Levitating one time, and they would like play the song like throughout too. So it was really good. I think the DJs were awesome.
Next, we'll get into the ports. We were at 2 ports during this sailing. There was Puerto Plata, Dominican Republic, which is a really nice island. You can walk, you can do all of your normal excursions that you would do on a vanilla cruise ship as well. They also, that's just a nice port. There is a pool that you can go to. There's a bunch of shopping. There is a lazy river. There wasn't our ship there that day, and so that's just good to know. It's not always like you're the only one there, so there was no optional options or anything like that for that port. But the other port we went to was a Norwegian owned island. So you took a tender over to this island and we were the only people there this day, which was amazing. And so you were able to go and use all the amenities that they had. Like you were able to go to the ocean, but you were able to be completely nude if you wanted to. And you were able to get drinks because that was included. And it was just such a fun takeover. They had other little things you could do there, but also because we were the only ones there, they took over one of like kind of the pool party areas and they did a bunch of activities there as well. I'm going to read off some of these activities they had that day. There was a beach party, beach volleyball tournament, Timtastic time with the Playmakers, Beer Olympics, body shots with the Playmakers. So they also used that time on the island by itself to do a bunch of activities that were almost like what they would do at the pool party, but on the island. And so overall, I feel like that was one of the most fun days at ports I've had in a long time. And so anytime that you get to go to like on the private islands and it's just your ship, it really lends for an amazing time at port.
You do have to take the tender there, and so that does add quite a bit of time to your port day. We personally really love taking tenders. I like being able to, it's like a little boat that you go on and you get to just see, you know, like the ocean and everything. And it's not too long of a boat ride or a ship ride. No, I would say a boat ride. It's not that long of one, maybe about 10 minutes. And then you just like wait in line to go back. So it does add like maybe like 40 minutes or so, 45 minutes to your port day. But if you're going with a bunch of friends or going with people that you have just met or wanting to meet, like that's really fun to do. And there was like kayaking and paddleboarding, which we thought was going to be included because it was on the island, but that was not included. That did cost extra if you wanted to do those activities, but it was an option if you wanted to. Next are miscellaneous things that are very important, but we just didn't know exactly where to put them. One of the biggest new changes with Temptation Grand Cruises now is it is fully clothing optional. So you can be nude anywhere on the pool deck areas and of course in the playroom, but you cannot be nude inside of the ship areas. And you also have to be at least 3 miles away from port to be either topless or nude. However, we will say, I don't know if it's because this is a new change, so not everybody knew, or if it's due to the type of demographic it is, that again, like we said, it's not a like specific lifestyle cruise, right? So most people weren't participating in being fully clothing optional. Very, very few % of people were completely clothing optional. Lots of people were, at least lots of women were topless. But that's how it's been on the previous cruises before. They did make the announcement. They'd made the announcements on the shows. They made the announcements on the intercom. But yeah, it didn't seem like most people participated. But maybe moving on forward in the future as more people know about the changes, that'll change. But this specific one wasn't a ton of participation, but you could participate it if you wanted to.
There were more people towards the end of the cruise than at the beginning of the cruise, which does lead us to believe that more people in the future might partake in that. But definitely what Bella said, not as many people as you would almost think with having the fully nude option.
When it comes to internet, Wi-Fi is not included. You do have to pay extra to get that Wi-Fi package. Some websites are blocked though, so just keep that in mind. And they also did have an option that was like a texting option, and that was a pretty good price. So I think it was maybe $3 to $5 a day to use like iMessaging, and so that was really good. A lot of people ended up getting that option just to keep in touch with people on the cruise ship, since there isn't like a specific app or anything. Like you can't talk on the like Norwegian app. That was pretty important to be able to continue to communicate with each other, and it was awesome that they did have that option for not too expensive of a price. And when it comes to staff, we always love the staff. Cruise ship staff is always so amazing, and this question is asked a lot, but the normal cruise ship staff, like the cruise crew who typically work on Norwegian Cruise Line, they do have the option to work either guest facing areas or behind the scene operational areas. So everyone there is consenting to work the areas that they are in, and they have the option to not be seeing guests if that's not what they want to do. In addition, those cruise crew do not work any of the play areas or spicy areas or any of the workshops. That is all hired specifically by the cruise charter. So those are people who are working directly for Temptation Cruise who are working those areas. It's also blocked off, so the normal cruise crew cannot see those areas, and the staff is always incredible. And that goes for both the Norwegian cruise staff and the Temptation Cruise staff. There's rules and boundaries that are strictly enforced in like the playroom areas. It's always like posted right in the front as well. And so all of the staff is there to help all of the guests feel very safe and comfortable. And in conclusion, obviously, as you can tell, we really enjoyed this cruise. We love all the different changes that were made from the first cruise. It seems like they're really taking in that feedback and changing it to make it a lot better for the guests.
But like Belle said, overall, we had an amazing cruise. I feel like the changes made such a huge difference, especially the food. That was a massive one
And
for
the playrooms.
And the playrooms.
And I mean, all of the changes are so drastic from what it was before, like being completely nude and being couples only. It definitely feels like it's like the same cruise, but also a different cruise. It's just like we like the changes more now.
And we do feel like, once again, it is not a lifestyle cruise. This is an adults-only spring break party that is lifestyle friendly. But with a lot of the changes, it does feel like it's kind of lending itself to that lifestyle atmosphere and that lifestyle vibe, which as lifestyle people, we really enjoy. But overall, an absolutely amazing cruise. We highly recommend Temptation Cruise. If you guys have never been, or if you've been, we highly recommend going again. It is such a fun time. So thank you guys so much for listening to this podcast. We really hope that it was able to help you decide if Temptation Cruise is the right cruise for you and just get some more information. But we'll go ahead and jump into Belle and Jase's Weekly Obsessions.
My first obsession is, guys. Actually, okay, so I started watching Heated Rivalry because of someone who we met on Temptation Cruise a couple years ago who booked with us for a Temptation Cruise, and now they're some of our really good friends. But we were texting, and then she was like, or in our group chat, she was like, "Are you watching Heated Rivalry?" And I was like, no, I hadn't even heard of Heated Rivalry before at this point. And I was like, what's the vibe? And she was like, hot. You have to watch it. And I was like, okay. Didn't know what I was getting into. It is a hockey romance, male hockey romance. Lots of yearning, lots of tension, lots of sports rivalry. Did I say it was a hockey romance? I think I did. Okay, yeah. So it's about these two hockey players, and I don't even want to get into more of that. It's just like, I highly recommend to watch the show if it sounds like something you're into. I got Jase to watch it too, and I was like, after the 5th episode, I was like, okay, there's only one episode left, but I need to experience the finale with you, so you have to watch every single one with me so we can watch the finale together.
Yeah, so we've been watching that. I have one more episode tonight to watch to be caught up so we can watch the finale in, I don't know, 4 or 5 days from now or whenever it is that it comes out.
Which I think episode 5 is the best episode that there was. Oh my God, I cried so much in the 3rd episode. I cried again in the 5th episode, but not as much as the 3rd
but Bella
episode.
said that was the best episode, was the 3rd episode, and that was not my favorite episode. So
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to think the 5th is the best episode.
No, you will. You will think that the 5th is the best. Anybody who is listening to this who has seen this will also think so. I think the 5th episode is like the best out of all of them because it's like things are colliding.
Okay.
Like, you know, because it's just like it's progressing in the story. So, you know, it's like towards the end and it's anyways, okay, so that's my first obsession. I also am going to start reading the book because it is based off of a book. So I want to read that too, but the show is my obsession. And my other obsession is it's another show. It's so Love Island Australia is like, I don't know if it's currently still going on, but it's like the newest season of Love Island Australia. I've never seen Australia's version before, and it is so fun. Australian accents are my favorite accents, and so it's a very fun watch. I wouldn't say it's like my favorite Love Island season of all time or anything, but I'm having fun with that, and that is currently my obsessions. What are your obsessions?
So I have two. One is the song "Chains of Love" by Charlie XCX, and I believe that they're using this for like the trailer for Wuthering Heights with Jacob Elordi and Margot Robbie. I don't know
Did you
when
say
that movie.
Wuthering Heights?
Wuthering?
Wuthering Heights?
How do you? Isn't it like
Wuthering?
How do you say it?
Like a Werther's candy?
How do you say it?
Wuthering.
Weathering.
No, Wuther.
Wuthering.
Yeah.
I knew it was spelled like really interesting, so I didn't know how to say it. Anyway.
Like, I will never be able to unsee just like a Werther's candy every time.
Okay. Well, I still like Chains of Love by Charlie XCX for that movie. So I am going to go to the next one now.
Wait, where are you going to watch Chains of Love? When are you going to listen to that? When you watch
I don't
what
know,
movie?
whenever it comes out.
What movie? When what
The
comes
one with
out?
Jacob, I can't remember the name. So Jacob Elordi and Margot Robbie. I can't remember the name of it. Do you know what it is?
In the Heights?
I don't think that's it.
It's not In the
I
Heights.
started with the W, but I can't remember.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, so my next highlight is, so the Housemaid movie came out. And around a year ago, I read the Housemaid book. And before reading that book, it's been a really long time since I had read anything that was fiction. And it was a really interesting time in my life going through a couple things. And I loved reading my entire life. And then I kind of fell off reading. Then I got really into self-help reading. And then I read Housemaid, and it was just the first thriller I'd ever read, and it left a very special place in my heart. I kind of reignited my love for reading, and so I just have a very special place with The Housemaid in general. I read the whole series, and then the movie came out, and I loved it. I thought it was so good, and maybe it's a cold take, and maybe a lot of people don't agree, but I actually almost enjoyed the movie more than the book. I know that there was lots of details in the book that I think were better, but some of the changes they made in the movie, I actually wish that the book would have been written that way, which I feel like I've almost never said about any movie ever. And so I'm also got distracted because I looked over and Bella's boobs popping out of her top right now, and then I forgot where I was going.
My areola.
But anyway, and I mean, I love the cast. I love literally everything about it. I just thought it was an awesome movie. I had so much fun watching it, and I try not to get my hopes up too high because of how much I enjoyed the book, but it lived up to every expectation and more from what I thought. So,
And from an unbiased opinion, well, did you say that you might be biased because your love for Sydney Sweeney? I don't know if you said that.
well, I also just think I'm biased. Also, I do love Sydney Sweeney, but I think I'm also biased from the love of the book and
Right.
the sentimental factor that.
Like me with Wicked.
Yeah.
Yeah. But from an unbiased, I thought that it was also an incredible movie. I think I read the book as well. I also think that it's better than the book. The changes that they did, I think, really made it a bit more, like, even more exciting, even more thrillery. And Amanda Seyfried specifically had such an incredible performance. She was able to show like so much emotion and acting, and as Sydney was amazing too. God, there was one of the best sex scenes with Sydney Sweeney in that movie. So I highly recommend. If it's, I don't know, is this going to come out when it's still in theaters? Maybe.
Ooh, I don't know. I don't know how long it's going to stay in there. I guess how well it's done. But whenever it comes out.
But it's specifically watching that scene in theaters is life changing. Honestly, wet. Everything is. I was just wet. I watched it. I was like, I usually when I watch movies, I have to crochet to like be able for my brain to like continue to pay attention. I didn't do shit except for watch that movie during that time. It was so good. All of the actors are good in there.
Yeah, that Brandon Sklenar, I believe is his last name. He was incredible. I've seen him in a couple things. I really like him. Like the whole cast was just.
Yeah.
I just really enjoyed it. And so that's my other obsession.
Great obsessions. And thank you guys for listening to the podcast.
You tried to do the outro? One time you tried to do the
And-
outro and it was really funny.
I think I forgot. Well, that's the end of the podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we will hit you with the outro. Did I get it?
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. That was awesome.
If you'd like to support the show, you can leave us a 5-star review wherever you're listening to our podcast. All our information will be listed in the show notes below and on our website, fourplay.com. That's number 4, OURPLAY.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we make videos and vlogs about the swinging lifestyle. Head to fourplay.com/YouTube to watch and subscribe. We have the ultimate adult party game for the sexually inclined called Foreplay the Game that's both digital and physical. It's perfect for breaking the ice and spicing up any party. You can find more information at foreplay.com/games. We also have the best swinger lifestyle, kinky, and adult humor clothing and accessories that you can find at foreplay.com/shop. If you're looking to plan a lifestyle destination, booking through our links at foreplay.com/travel really helps support the show and helps us be able to continue to create this type of content for you. We're on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, and more. You can find all our current social media accounts at foreplay.com/socials, and I have an OnlyFans which you can find at onlyfans.com/BellaLunaVIP. We also have a Facebook group and Discord community and would love for you to join us. You can find the direct links in the show notes below. Lastly, we're on STC and Cassidy at Foreplay, and you can get a free full membership trial by using our link. You can email us at hello@foreplay.com with any questions or comments, or head to foreplay.com/ask. Again, all our information will be listed in the show notes below, and we thank you so much for listening to our podcast. See you in the next one. Bye!